Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show, and if you have somehow missed out on knowing this, this is the week to go and check out ski jumping over at Olympic Park. And if you can't get over there, I only feel bad that you're going to miss out on some of the best jumping ever with some of the best athletes, which is why we're bringing some of them right into our studio so you can get a little time with them. Kevin Bickner is here, Sarah Hendrickson, Will Rhodes. Welcome all of you to the show. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down early in the morning. Is morning jumper time, you guys don't mind that time in the morning, do you? Are you guys morning people? Or are you more of afternoon, evening people?
I guess usually our World Cups are in the afternoon,
right?
But
it's a little later.
We train usually in the morning to get in front of the wind.
Right.
It picks up, especially in Park City around here. So
yeah.
Competitions this weekend
when it's nice
early.
And quiet over there, there's not a still air,
exactly.
Right? But sometimes you like a little wind up the hill, right? You guys like to fly, so that helps.
Definitely.
Yeah. When does that? That's usually more afternoon, evening kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. In the afternoon, right about 12, 1, the headwind starts picking up really strong. Sometimes it gets too strong here in the afternoon, but I jumped yesterday, and so right around 4 o'clock it was perfect.
Yeah, getting a little of that wind up the hill means you guys fly further, right? Let's talk about this for the uninitiated, and we have tried to a little bit over the last couple of days, but I want to kind of get people to understand what ski jumping is really like, Nordic jumping. So you get over these big hills, you get up, you take a lift up to the top, or hike if you really want to. You get up to the top of the hill here, and you guys go out and put your skis in essentially what is a track in summertime, right? Is there water running down that thing, or is it just slippery and you don't need water? How does it work? Give us a little background.
Yeah, there's a whole watering system that sprays water from the middle out to the side in the tracks to keep the tracks wet and slick.
Okay.
And then for the landing, there's a sprinkler system. Every 10 jumpers or so, it'll dry out a little bit, so they'll flip a switch and the sprinklers will come on and wet the entire landing hill.
And you're landing on plastic, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to me about what the difference is like between that and, say, a winter jump. How does that feel? Whoever wants to feel that.
It's surprisingly similar.
Is it?
I barely notice a difference, other than the temperature, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think that first jump, when you're going from winter back to summer, you have to be a little careful. It's not quite as slick right off the bar.
Yeah.
You stick a little bit, but the overall sensation is like almost exactly the same, I think.
Yeah, that's the part I think I'd be most worried about, that because anytime I've ever tried to, say, ski any kind of object in a terrain park or something, and I hit that plastic, and it's like, oh, yeah. You kind of have that same moment, right?
Yeah, that's actually a good analogy, yeah.
Is it?
Pretty similar.
Pretty similar. And then the landing, we still don't have, we don't have metal edges on these skis. What's that like? You still have some, do you have more or less control on plastic or snow? Which one's better?
I think it's pretty similar, but I mean, we're just going straight, so we don't really need to turn.
Right. Yeah, but you still got to keep them going straight, right?
Yeah, we learned at a pretty young age how to control them, so it's kind of just second nature for us now. And we have to throw them sideways at the bottom or snow plow a little bit, but for us, it's just kind of part of the game. So, winter and summer, it's pretty similar. Use the same equipment and everything.
Everything's the same. And we've got a little video clip of Kevin going down the hill. Here you are, right here. So that's pretty sweet. That's over, is that on the K120, right?
Yeah.
And this flying position, let's talk about that. This developed over the years. I mean, now we have this V position that it's been about probably a good 20 years that's been the case. Before that, much different. It was straight, kind of keeping the skis straight out. What does that position allow for? How does this work?
So you essentially want as much surface area as possible. Throwing the skis out in a V kind of gets the skis at the side of your body, so then you get both skis and your body catching the wind.
Okay.
And
And just like an airplane, I mean, you're basically an airfoil there, trying to collect as much air as you can.
Yeah. You want to get it all underneath you, and then it lifts you up and carries you further.
Wow. When we talk about getting to that position, these jumps, when you come to the bottom of them, a lot of people think it's like flinging you. You actually have to jump, right? That's part of the move. And while we're looking at Will, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Where is that happening here on this part of the jump here?
See, we might be
able to see it, right?
Yeah, so
just
you'll
barely.
see as you're approaching the takeoff there.
You got to get up.
Yeah, it's essentially just, I think I think the terminology is you want to push down and be very smooth and keep as much speed as you can while gaining height. So that's the kind of tricky part to it.
Yeah.
Right. And
the takeoff hangs at -10 degrees, which a lot of people don't realize. Where in a train park, it's kicking
throwing
you up. So if
you
don't jump, you're not going anywhere.
You're going
so
straight down.
You're not clearing the knoll, as they say.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not fun. Right? You really want to impact that hill well down the hill.
Yeah.
And of course, the trick is you guys are trying to go to the K point, trying to go to the bottom, and that also means a little harder landing, right? The further you go down, the closer you get to the bottom, a little harder.
Yep.
All right, here's Sarah, and I'm excited to see this. I love watching you jump. I mean, you get into that position so early. Look at that. That is just beautiful. So you're good 15 feet off the ground, 20 feet off the ground as you clear the knoll, right?
Yeah, it depends on the hill, but I mean, a lot of people think we're super high, but really we stay with the contour.
Yeah, you're like 5-6 feet off as you come down the big part, right?
Oh yeah, and
down the
it's a
outrun.
pretty smooth landing. I mean, obviously if you out jump the hill, you're gonna have some problems, but we monitor speed and everything, so you're safely landing at that far distance, and yeah, it's a lot smoother than some of the other air jumps out there.
Indeed. Now, I want to talk about each of you and where you're at in the like kind of the career part of jumping. So, for Sarah, I think we probably had the most opportunity to get to sort of see you because, of course, you've been on the thrust of getting women involved in the sport and making sure that you had your chances, your opportunities to start to compete. So maybe we'll start with you. Tell us where you're at now, the progression of the sport for you and for other women. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I obviously went to the Olympics in 2014 and was able to compete there. I've suffered a lot of injuries, but I'm healthy now and looking forward to this second Olympic year for us women. And the sport has grown quite a bit since our first World Cup circuit starting in 2011. So it's progressing in a really good fashion, and I'm really excited about that.
Indeed. With regard to the Olympics and Pyeongchang, do we know who's going yet when it comes to the women?
No, for men and women, teams don't really get announced until mid-January, like really 2.5-3 weeks before the games start. So
amazing.
It's all based off World Cup ranking. We have Olympic trials here at the end of December, which will decide one spot. So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, it's really, I mean, they want to take the best, who's jumping the best at the time. So we just got to wait it out.
And for you, let's talk your international competitors. Who's your biggest competition?
There's some really good Germans. Japanese are really strong. Norwegian, and yeah, it's a pretty tough competition. It's really cool to see the different countries that have brought up really strong ladies. So it's definitely not an easy field.
Well, it's about time, really. I think that's the thing. We see that women have so much skill in the air. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. There's some physiological differences that kind of give you guys a little bit of an advantage, which is pretty cool to have. And it's about time we saw so many ladies competing, and now there's a lot. How many do you think are out there altogether that are actively competing?
Yeah, we get about 55 to 60 at each World Cup, so
wow.
That's quite a bit.
Still a lot of opportunity, though. I think that's the thing I really want any girls that are watching to know. I bet you do too. There's tons of opportunity for girls to jump.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a great program here. We have a Fly Girls program, which is a development, starting to create the system to bring up the next World Cup athletes. So it's really a good sport to get into, and if you want to go to the Olympics, ski jumping is a pretty good opportunity, especially if you're from the States.
And that's what I like to. I like to have those young people here, because when I was watching the '76 games, there's only one place in America to go, and it was nowhere near Utah.
Yeah.
So now it is. It's right here in your backyard, and great opportunities. All right, Kevin, let's talk a little bit about where you're at and where you're going with the sport. You've had some amazing successes, as we've talked about, especially distance-wise. Some great opportunities to jump big hills and things. Talking about where you're at now with the sport.
Yeah, this last year was a big step. Finally able to compete on the World Cup and actually try to get those good results. So that's something I didn't think I would be able to do this last year. It's really good that we're getting these results going into the Olympic year. Hopefully we can get positions that we haven't been able to get in like the last 20 years.
I mean, Americans have always, this has not been a sport that we've particularly done well in as a team. It's been tough.
Yeah, and
there's some really good jumpers in Europe. I mean, when we consider the amount of money and the hype around it, it's the Super Bowl when it comes to the other countries. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's huge in other countries. It's on TV, people know about it. Here, it's not even that it's not popular, people just don't know that it exists.
Right.
So I think the Olympics coming up, it's an opportunity to get ski jumping out there and have people aware that it's a sport, and I really think that'll help with the popularity.
Best result this last year at World Cup? Talk about that.
In Vickersund, Norway, on a ski flying event, I was 15th in a World Cup.
With a crash.
With a crash.
Yeah, he would have been top 10 if he would have stuck it, but.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that just speaks to what could happen at the Olympic Games. You guys have the potential to bring home some hardware, which we're pretty excited about for sure. I'm telling you, it's going to be fun to be able to cheer for people I know. This is going to be so great. Let's switch attention to you for just a minute. Give us a little more about where you're at as well.
Yeah, I mean, going into this year, I think all three of us definitely have our sights on the Olympics this year and doing as best as we can. I didn't have as good of a winter as I expected. I had a couple little injuries and things that held me back a bit, and I think I underperformed a bit, but definitely learned a lot, and I think this year will definitely be my best year. But yeah, I think the whole team is super excited to get going on this next season.
That's excellent. All right, if you don't mind, can you stick with me for just a minute? We're going to end this hour, and I'm going to come back and start the hour with you guys. We can talk a little bit about the event coming up. Does that sound cool?
Yeah.
All right. So you'll want to stay tuned for that too. We're going to take a quick commercial break, come back with the second hour of the Mountain Morning Show with the athletes of the U.S. Ski Nordic team. We will be back right after this. Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show as we jump into the second hour of the program. And if you're just tuning in, you're lucky because you would have otherwise missed the members of our Nordic jumping team who have decided to stick around for the second hour so we can talk to them a little bit about the event this week as well as what they're up to and a little bit about them, because I want you to have some people to cheer on at the Olympics this year, and you certainly have that opportunity, as I'm very happy to have Kevin Bickner, Sarah Hendrickson, Will Rhodes here. Welcome all three of you again. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, so first and foremost, let's talk about the event this week. We've got jumping on every hill over at Olympic Park. Everything from the K10 to the 20, the 40, the 68, all of them. So talk about that and what some of the events are over the next couple of days.
Yeah, it's a 19th annual Springer Tourney, we call it. So it's been a highlight of all our upbringings up around the ski jumps. So people from around the country, as well as our friends up north in Calgary, come down and compete. And we have over 100 athletes from the little tykes all the way up to the national team. So it's a really fun event. Everyone looks forward to it every year. And then on the large show, we have U.S. Championships on Saturday morning.
Yeah, that's where we'll see you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a lot of fun on Saturday. I'm excited. I'm going to be there for this, and I can hardly wait to see you guys fly to the bottom. First of all, with your time in the sport, you guys are the leaders of the team. Talk about what it's like to be able to help out the little ones coming up. That's kind of fun because they get a chance to meet you guys and spend a little time with you, right? Mm-hmm. So what's that like?
It's great. I'm not from here, so growing up, Springer was like the biggest event of the year. It was when everyone from all parts of the country came together and competed against each other. So I always remember that being a really exciting event. And then the national team was there, and you got to meet them. And as I got a little older, they came up with this program where you get coached by them, and so you really get to know them. And so I think it's really good for our younger kids to get to see that and get to meet us and know us and see where we're at with our jumping.
You feel older? How does that? What does that feel like?
It's weird.
Look back on this, and now you're the ones teaching. Mm-hmm. Is that pretty fun?
It is, because I remember how much fun it was when I was that age. So it's nice to give back.
People asking for your autographs and stuff like that. Well, do they get a lot of little ones coming up to you and saying, "I want your autograph on a picture"?
Yeah. It's bizarre. It's bizarre, kind of like realizing you are the old guy on the hill now, and that the kids are looking up to you, and you kind of have to. You have to flip that switch in your head. You're like, the role model now.
To put that in perspective, when you say that you're the little guy in the hill, you're not even 30 yet, right?
22.
That's what I'm saying. That's not old. But when you talk about this sport, it starts young, right? Yeah. Sarah, talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a super technical sport, so I mean, for the guys, there's a broad range from boys doing really well at the age of 16, and then there's a guy in his 40s that is doing really well. That's pretty rare, but yeah, it's
I would like to be that guy, but yeah.
It's a big range, which is really cool, and for the girls, it's a little bit younger than the men, but I mean, as long as you hold your body together, you can do it for quite a few years. So it's
you told me that there's a guy over there who's almost 70. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a recreational jumper that comes out, and I think he's about 60, and he's been jumping forever, and just like riding a bike, just comes out and has fun.
Wow.
And that's a pretty rare case, but
right,
it's really cool.
His name's not Eddie the Eagle, right? That's amazing. Wow. Okay, since I sort of brought that up. You guys all are familiar with the ABC's Wild World of Sports opening, right? I mean, how do you not know that in jumping, right? And if for those who don't know, just look it up. When you saw that, were you like, I'm going to do that sport anyway, right?
I saw it after I started jumping.
Yeah.
Really? Is that for all of you the case?
It's kind of a bummer because in the States, people either say, "Oh, you're a ski jumper," like the Crash from
Wild World of Sports, yeah,
or Eddie the Eagle, and so it's kind of like.
These are the only things people define it by.
It's a really safe sport compared to some of the other skiing sports out there.
Oh,
so,
for sure.
It's kind of frustrating when people only know it from that, but I don't know, when people watch ski jumping and learn about it, they really love it. So.
And I'm imagining that every now and then you're like calming a parent down. It's going to be okay. I did this when I was their age. They're going to be all right, right? Is that part of being the older members of the team a little bit? Mm-hmm. When you have this opportunity with these young people, what are some of the things you're telling them? Can you give us a little insider tip on some of the things that are happening?
I mean, so cliche, but have fun. Have fun with it. It is fun. So these younger guys that are I think I coached up to 16 this year, which was a little strange because I'm like not that much
older than that.
Yeah, but
wow.
I think the guys who do well really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's just
so you got to have the love for it.
Exactly. And those kids that are coming up, you can see it in like the really young guys. They're not so worried about competing or anything. They just like jumping off the hill. It's fun. So.
Now, your coach, we've talked a little bit with coaches. The one thing that they keep saying though is you guys have, as much as you say that, the fun part, you guys have a real competitive vibe going on the team. Very excited about competing against the world. Talk about what it takes to be able to do that. Can you field that for me a little bit?
I mean, to me, competing is the fun part. I really enjoy seeing how I do compared to other people, and
it's always good to know who your competition is, right?
Yeah. Who
can really match up.
Yeah.
All right, so Kevin, I want to. We got just a moment or two left, so I want to just get a little bit on each of you so that folks can, get behind you and cheer for you a little bit. So, Kevin, what's when you're not ski jumping? What do you do? What do you like to do?
I like to go hiking, hang out with my friends, go swimming at any of the reservoirs.
Do you have another favorite sport, like organized sport you like to watch? Are you basketball, football, baseball?
I'd say out of all those, football would probably be it. Yeah.
Who's your team?
Bears, Chicago Bears.
Okay, all right. Sarah, for you, what is it you do when you're not jumping?
Well, I was born and raised in Park City, so I mean, I bike a lot, mountain and road. I like running and hiking and yoga, Pilates, so definitely live a pretty active life. But training takes up a lot of our time.
Yeah, it does.
So being a professional athlete, it's pretty time constraining. So I do a little bit of school on the side. I think these guys do too. So we keep pretty busy.
School on the side,
yeah.
But just as important and much harder for people to know what that's like. It's a lot harder work.
Yeah.
What about your favorite sport to watch? Maybe is there soccer? What do you like best?
I watch these guys. Yeah. I don't really watch. I mean, my mom watches football, but not really. In the winter, I'm over in Europe, so it's like a highlight to turn on the TV after I'm done with my competition and watch the men or Nordic combined. And cross country over there. So definitely a winter sport fan.
That's awesome. Now, I want to ask you the question that a lot of people, we look at tennis, especially lately with McEnroe saying some smack about the female athletes. Do you feel like you could compete straight up with the guys if you had to?
I don't.
And do you want to, or do you
No,
like
I
the way it
don't.
is?
Honestly, ski jumping is weird because it is so technical. The girls start from a higher gate and we can fly just as far, but we use more speed.
Right.
But I mean, look at the only other sport that men and women really compete against each other is equestrian. So it's like we don't need to compare each other. I mean, I look up to the men so much, and for me, it's just like we have girls and we have guys. We have different bodies and everything. So. I don't really want to be compared to them. I'm just trying to do my own thing.
I like that. It's a very fair answer. I wish a lot of people need to look at sport that way.
Yeah.
There are differences, certainly, in the way we're set up. So that's a really good answer. I love that, Sarah. Thank you for that. All right, your turn, Will. So, favorite thing to watch? Favorite thing to do?
Favorite thing to watch? I'll catch myself waking up at like 2, 3 a.m. like Saturday nights to watch Utah football for sure.
Yeah?
When I'm over in Europe, yeah.
That's great, yeah.
Kind of a geek about that fantasy football type stuff, and I like basketball a lot.
Yeah.
Try to keep up with scores and whatnot when I'm over in Europe. Things to do, same as these guys, just going out hiking, biking. I like playing basketball and volleyball a lot, but you got to be kind of conscious of injuries.
Yeah. It's a big deal. You got to take care of those ankles.
Foot. Exactly, yeah. So I've learned the hard way with that one, but yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm excited for you guys. This year is going to be a banner year. We're coming up on the Olympics. You guys will probably all be on the team by at least going to compete. We'll know that probably in December. I'm feeling like we'll see all of you listed there. And of course, we're very excited for Pyeongchang. I'm sure you guys are too. You've been over there for the test events, right? Mm-hmm. Have you been, Will? Did you
I wasn't
go?
there last year.
Okay,
No.
so it'll be the first time over there, assuming you're on the team, which I think is a safe assumption. Are you guys excited about Pyeongchang? It's a little different place.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I think they're really prepared. I've heard great things about it, and I think it's going to be a little bit different than Russia. So.
Indeed it will. Well, I want to thank you guys so very much. You now have someone to cheer for. You've met some of the team, and we know they're going to be there collecting some hardware, we hope, for the U.S. team. But either way, they're going to have fun jumping. That's what it's all about. That's what this weekend is all about. Make sure you get over to Olympic Park. You'll be able to cheer for these guys and, of course, all the youngins coming up in the program. The future of U.S. Nordic jumping is very, very bright, the brightest it's been in my lifetime, and we're excited for all these great members of the team to, like I said, to show us their very, very best. So enjoy that this weekend. Don't miss out. So few people go to this event and really get a chance to see what jumping is all about. And trust me, you'll go once, and you'll never miss it again. So make sure you get over there. Again, it's at Olympic Park this weekend. All right, we'll be back with more here on the Mountain Morning Show. We'll be back after this break with your weather and more right here on Park City Television.